Hello, welcome to the new player guide. Before we start, I just want to mention a couple of things related to the difficulty and the story. Now, this is a game that only goes forward with its progression if you do the story missions. So that means it's kind of impossible and also not really that useful to play on a harder difficulty. Just play on normal, because this is the best way to play the game at a decent rate while learning and getting used to the new things. For example, if you don't do the first story mission, which is the glass trader ones, you'll not have access to the sharpshooters, which I currently have one, and the enemy ships will also not have stations on them. For example, now the ships have started to have spikes where you can push the enemies, ram stations where you can fully heal, and medic station where you can just throw healing battles at other crewmates. So in a way it's easier if you just do the story missions, because you get access to more things, also more artifacts and more interesting stuff as well. So yeah, do the first story mission and then farm a little bit. Now, what are the upgrades you should be going for? Well, it's pretty easy. Look at my ship. It has the light cannon tier 2, volley gun tier 2, glass cannon tier 2, cannon breaker tier 2. And over here, fortified quarterback, pendant of toughness, and the ROM supply. Now you might be thinking, well, this doesn't seem like it's very different from the starting. No, it's very different because you need cannons that fire exactly as they should. What do I mean by that? Well, the other cannons have too many limitations. For example, this one costs 2 focus points. This one cannot fire in the first round, so if you have only 3 cannon slots and the one cannon cannot fire in the first round, that means you lose 1 focus point. So also the mortar has the same issue. Now I can replace one of the cannons with the mortar if I'm completely honest, but this will only fire in the last round. So that means I cannot use the cannon breaker, which is 1 to 4 damage, to damage their cannons, and I have to rely on the 0-4 one, which can be tricky to use, and this still costs a little bit of, it still costs 1 focus and you can only use it in the final round. So depends on your playstyle, but sometimes you just need to plan for the unpredicted. So yeah, I recommend you do it like this for a very long time until you get more acquainted with the game. Now the workshop, what should you upgrade over here? Well, first of all, I recommend you upgrade the Kraken. It might seem a little bit silly, but with this upgrade of tier 3, it costs 2 shards only, so it costs 3 and then it costs 2. Keep in mind you will always start with 3 shards every game, so that means you can summon the Kraken Tentacle only once, regardless. But if you visit a shrine, you'll get 6 of them, because they'll give you an extra 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6, so that means you can use the Kraken attack 3 times per raid, and they do 4 damage now. So that's 12 damage in a line that you can do a lot of times. It's basically using 1 per raid in normal combat and 2 once. You'll just keep for safety in the boss battle, in the last fight of the raid. So definitely very worth it, mostly because it's also pretty cheap. You're going to be using your glass fragments and you don't really need them for much else. Over here I recommend you get mates hammocks as fast as possible, and then the next one is kind of harder to get with 3000, but you can use more mates in combat, which really gives you kind of like this umbrella of not failing completely a mission. You'll get wounded, but I still have them somewhat. Specialist cabin. This is the specialist where you get the very good crew members. Now, you might think, well, I should unlock them as fast as possible. Yes and no. I think the Kraken is a little more important in the beginning, and then you should focus on upgrading the specialist as well. But keep in mind that in certain combats where you lose whatever you do, it's just better to have more mates to cover your extract, or just cover you until you have enough damage to win the mission, because there are more ways to win the mission than it seems in the beginning. It might be a little better to have the mates. Also, it's cheaper. The sick bay, yeah, it's important, but not that important. Mostly you want to keep your crewmates alive. Crewmates are the ones that have the name and look interesting. The mates are just the, I don't know, the deck rats or whatever. Specialist level is also very important to get in the beginning, because the level 2 specialist is so much stronger than the level 1. And that's kind of enough for the beginning. Now over here, the equipment, this is where some people will not really understand what is happening. Well, put it bluntly, only you can get higher tier equipment if you go through this one over here. Basically, what it means, you can get higher tiers of cannons, random tiers of cannons in your playthrough. So we can even get tier 6 cannons if you go up to the last one over here. But more importantly, you will get one of these cannons when you upgrade. So that means we can now use the glass cannon tier 2. Which is the only thing that really changes the way you play the game, because cannons are super useful to defend your ship against the enemy cannons, but also to destroy their upgrades. So as a rule, you destroy their cannons so they don't destroy your stuff, and then you destroy their buffs, like +1 crew HP, so they are easier to manage. Also, this will cut down the amount of time you spend fighting. Sometimes you just win by killing all of the crew members. That's glorious. Now, as for the starting module in defense, only the round supply is really good because the other ones have too many downsides. I was thinking of using them, but -1 movement, -1 movement, -1... No, I don't think I'll ever use these ones, to be honest, unless I'm very, very late into the game. And as for offense, is more or less the same problem. Here made and -1 movement, -1 armor. -1 armor is not so bad for Captain Cutter. So this might be the only one I will use, because +1 damage is very, very useful on the Captain, but -1 armor is not that bad. Hooks, bonus damage, bonus max HP. This will be for much, much later. I would say another one that is worth using is the Sharpshooter emblem, but again, it's not worth investing your points in this. You might as well invest it for the sturdy deck, of course, which you have, and then a bonus for your other crew members. The best crew members will be the cooks, but they don't really get anything over here. Maybe this one for cleavers. 2 movement, 2 max HP. I'm not sure what cleavers means, probably an error in translation. But by the time you get to use them, it will be kind of late in the game anyway. I don't like this one either way, but you can use it as in a pinch. Anyway, the only one that is really 100% foolproof will be this one. But I don't recommend you get more than one grappler. So basically the cannons, and over here the captain, and maybe the cooks. So these are the only ones I would really pick from this one. So there's no point in upgrading that too much. Might as well use them to upgrade stuff over here. So cannon, starting capacity is very important to have, upgrade as soon as possible. Starting gold is not that important. Module capacity is not that important because you don't really have a good one. So after you get the 2 cannon slot, I recommend you just get more focus points, which will be really the thing that improves your ship a lot more. So yeah, just go for the command points at this point. And that's kind of it, right? Wrong, there are a lot of things you have to talk about, because remember, you can level up even your captain. What is my preferred level options? Well, I think +1 damage bonus over here is worth it, but it's not worth it because you can do 1 damage with a pistol, and then you can do 2 damage with a pistol, and then you have the cutlass swing, but it's not really that important in my opinion. You should go for over here retaliate tier 1. And then go for the bonuses that increase your tankiness. You know, health is nice, but then you get 1 movement point, and then you get 1 armor point, and then you get a bonus damage. So even though this would seem like it's worth it, now this one, because look at my captain, he's already much stronger now, and he's much tougher to kill, plus the retaliate, plus the armor. So he basically, the basic enemies cannot even hurt him at this point, plus the regeneration. This might also be a good idea, but to be honest, it's very tricky to use them. And again, this will not end the turn. You are looking for stuff that will not say end turn. So the mermaid call will be very good. Everything over here ends the turn, so that's why I don't like it. I'll probably use that in the end, but for now it's not worth it. And you might think, well, this is worth it as well, but it's very hard to level up the captain. The captain needs 50% more experience than his crew member, so yeah, I need 12,000 experience for level 6. So if you have chosen anything else, you'll find that you'll be playing the game at a very big disadvantage for a very long time. Now, I don't think the other crew members are worth it. The best ones are the cooks, after that it's the grapplers, and after that is the sharpshooters. Because of certain unexpected mechanics that you can use to your advantage. Why are the cooks so good? Well, simply because they do 2 points of damage and they don't move the enemy. Sometimes it's a bad idea to move the enemy. Sometimes you want them to stay there so multiple characters can hit them. So what is the best combination? As you can see, they can have 3 traits over here. One is the cook that they will always have. That's the starting trait, or the starting skill tree. And then they can have a randomization of, I'm not sure how many, maybe 3, 4, 5, I'm not sure. What is the best option for the cooks? Well, I don't think you'll ever get it, but the best for the cooks will be the Believer River. Say that 5 times faster, Believer River. So what is the Believer? The Believer is a very good skill tree that basically gives you 1 damage, but it ends your turn. And it takes the strength from your opponent, so that means you can nerf them and apply it to yourself. I'm not sure for how long it will last, but it's the best option I saw. Plus it gives you +1 movement points, so anything that gives you movement points is amazing. So the cook. The second skill is not so important because it debuffs the enemy, but the next one will do 3 damage. So they'll get armor, they'll deal 3 damage and -1 armor to the enemy, which will make tough enemies much easier to deal with, especially after they get their +1 armor. And as you can see, I prefer also the combat medic if I have it, but usually the believer river combination is super hard to find, and you'll see why. Now this is also a little better in the beginning because you don't have healing in the beginning, so the combat medic with the heal and the +2 HP is marvelous. I don't recommend you go up the tier list over here because who has 5 HP missing, who has 10 HP missing, so the first 2 levels will be enough. Then over here, as you can see, it's even better because it doesn't end the turn anymore, so you can steal the damage, apply 1 damage to your character, and then you can deal 4 damage, which is great. Now, why the river? The river is a very interesting class because it's basically a cannibal class, but it doesn't end your turn. So that means this character, if he's level 2, he can do 3 points of damage, which is great. And he can also get the HP, then he can heal 2 points of damage, and then he can have +4 max HP, and then you lose 1 HP per turn, but that's not a problem because you'll always have regeneration 1. So in my opinion it's worth giving them this one, but I'll probably have to choose at last. What is the best combination? Well, like I said, the best combination is to just give a river, hook, river, and if you have it, if you're very lucky, believer, and then go up to movement speed and then whatever else you want to do. It can get a little bit complex, but that's my preferred combination. I haven't found one that is like that yet, but that's how I like it. The second most useful crew member is kneecap speed, which is the grappler. I'm not sure what would be the best choice for him. Cutthroat seems like it's a very good decision because this doesn't end your turn and sadly it only does 1 damage, so you can get more movement speed and even more HP, and then this +1 bonus damage, which I think is bonus to damage to everything, which means he will deal 3 damage and then push, ultimately leading to 4 points of damage. Strongman I don't like because it can reduce your max damage, but as you can see this will end your turn, and if you upgrade it to tier 3 it will not end your turn anymore, so that's an extra point of damage, which what I can understand it will last forever and definitely, and you can also stack it. That's the way I understand it. I'm not sure what the other combinations are, to be completely honest, but I think go to the tavern. Nimble Sturdy. Nimble Sturdy is not good because Sturdy is basically going to lead you to a dead end because it will reduce your movement speed, which you don't really like. So if you get Nimble and Sturdy, it might be good because they can cancel each other out. You get a free XP health plus regeneration. It can make your character very tanky, but you also get a +1 armor, and then you heal for each movement point. So I guess this would be a very good combination. I just don't like it. It's too tanky. It's not going to do enough damage, and your goal in a game like this is to finish the levels as fast as possible. Some people might say, well, if you don't die, then it's perfect, right? No, you want to do the missions as fast as possible. Otherwise, you'll finish the game in, let's say, 100 hours, or you can finish the game in 50 hours. I prefer not waste time with tankiness when I can just finish the game faster, if that makes sense. I don't like the Spear Maidens, I don't like the Backstabbers, they're just too situational. They can have the Noble, which is quite interesting with the movement and the quick shot. And applies -1 damage for 1 turn. Unlimited range, which can be interesting, but I think it's a little bit of a trap. Because as you can see, this will only do 1 damage, and in the final one it will do 2 points of damage, -2 damage bonus. And then you can do your normal attacks, but the problem is that this class is super weak to damage as well, so yeah, you don't really want to have such a weak class, especially because in many missions on land you'll be surrounded. The Spear Maiden is a little better, but it's a little bit too gimmicky in my opinion, plus you need a very good roll. You can do a lot of damage, but as you can see, it has a lot of stuff that ends the turn, and Nimble, again, has more or less the same problems as... They are basically glass cannons that cannot really upgrade their damage more than the other classes that I've shown you, so meh. Now the Musketeer. This is a very interesting class because it's overpowered and underpowered at the same time. What do I mean by that? Well, the game has a feature called Fear. So the gameplay basically will reward you if you do over damage or overkill damage. So you can deal 4 damage in the beginning, which is the highest amount you can deal without upgrades. And then you can deal 5 damage. What does this mean? Well, you remember when you're boarding a ship, you can leave a character with 1 HP and then you can shoot the gun, which will do 4 overkill damage, meaning you get 4 fear points. And usually the ship will surrender at 6 fear points. So yeah, it's a bit cheesy. Basically, you can choose the entire ship combat if you have a Musketeer. On land, the Musketeer is basically useless, and it's very hard to get the right skills, but I think this is pretty decent because we can deal damage, we have the movement speed, we have a +1 damage bonus, and over here we have another focus that will give us +1 damage, so that's +2 damage. So I believe, if I understand this correctly, 6 damage, we'll be able to deal 8 points of damage. And if a character has only 1 point of damage, that means 7 points of fear, which might make the enemies surrender immediately. Depends on the situation and if you can get a little more extra damage. The piercing shot, I think it's useless, but 1 extra damage and the movement, it's great. Plus this one over here, you can also use this to use the cutthroat attack nearby enemies, but it's not so useful because it's a low amount of damage. So yeah, you can cheese the entire game by using this. So I think I've explained the upgrades, the ship layout, the options, the crew members and such. Okay, let's do a little bit of a raid. I don't have enough time to finish the entire raid, but we'll do it. We'll do about 5 minutes. Like I said, leave the story for a bit later. The next one will be the Grand Lantern, and we have over here the enemy ship extra equipment. I don't recommend you do the ones that have extra cannons, because that can get really slippery very fast. Because they might just target your module. If they destroy your ship module, you need to go into a base and repair it, which can be super annoying. So I recommend you do anything else but ships with extra cannons. That's all. And you also have to remember very well what cannons do what. How do you choose the best pathway? Well, in the beginning you'll actually... Well, let's do the event. Doesn't really matter what you choose over there. You basically want to have a cannon shop or a secluded shrine along your way. Otherwise, you want a bazaar, a cannon shop, and a secluded shrine. So as long as you get into those 3 lines, it's okay. So let me see what we have over here. The mermaid necklace is amazing because it doesn't end the turn. Very good for the Musketeer. You want to give Musketeer stuff that helps with that. 3 shots, an enemy, 1 damage. Okay, that will also be interesting. But basically you want to do a lot of elite encounters. Okay, so let's go down this pathway. Arsenal is a bit early, but I guess it's not so bad. And then we'll have the shrine, and then we'll have another one. And in the ending you always have one of these. I prefer the bazaar, to be honest, but the bazaar is kind of late in the game. You want to choose a bazaar kind of like the middle of the game. The dwarf course can be... Yeah, I don't think the dwarf course is worth it in the end either way. I guess we'll choose this one because it has more elite encounters, it has a secluded shrine. Definitely don't go for one that doesn't have one. Just for that Kraken power. Yeah, okay, so we'll go something like this. Good. You can also get the mermaid necklace, which is amazing. Remember to equip your item after you get it. Plants an enemy. It's an enemy with the club. Kind of a useless thing if you ask me, but I guess you can give it to the Musketeer. Since it ends the turn... You know what? I don't care then. So yeah, like that.
Man your stations and raise the flag!
The elite encounters will be very hard to deal with, but since it's the first one, the first encounter will always be much easier than the other one, so you can deal with it. So I have the cannon breaker and the glass cannon. Look at what they're aiming. If they're not going to destroy anything, for example, you might as well just let them shoot, but usually they'll try to destroy something.
Fire at will!
We got very unlucky this time, to be completely honest.
Yes! Good shot, Mr. Wilkes!
They destroyed that. Wow, that's kind of like the unluckiest you can get in this game.
Sound off!
Now we don't have enough cannons to destroy the fortified cabins, but it's not going to be a problem. Yeah, let's just go and destroy the fortified cabins because I don't like it when they have extra HP.
Fire! Come on, you bitch! Break!
Okay, so this is kind of like the unluckiest you can get, and I recommend you restart the run if you encounter something like this. Because you don't want to lose your cannon in the first fight. But we'll play through it because we're experienced enough to do it. What do they do? This is a new enemy, so as you can see, the more you play the game, the more they introduce new stuff. Multiple enemies at the same time. Whale tail. Ah, that's not so bad. So let's look at how they're positioned over here. Oh, that's useful. They have 4 points of HP. Okay. Oh, they have 4 movement points. That's a lot of movement. I guess they have... yeah. So, oopsie. Put the captain over there to cover the retreat. We'll put these guys over here and we'll put the musketeer over there. Now the musketeer cannot fire if it's in melee range.
We're about to win. It's only a limb.
Yeah, it's just a limb. Which has a rival believer. Still looking for one.
Didn't want to believe.
And sadly it will fire only next turn. That's the line of sight, so we'll try and aim for that one. The captain will brace, and that's kind of like it.
Come at me. You better mean it.
That was pretty brutal, right?
I am loaded, in more ways than one.
Now, how many fear points do I need? 6 fear points. I'm not sure I'll be able to get them. I don't want to risk injuring my crew for it. So let me think about it. I guess I can get 4 of them. Yeah, I cannot get another 2, so let's just focus on playing the game normally. This is free healing, might as well use it, right? Ah, just kill that one. We cannot do the fear cheese right now because the enemies are too strong and too fast for that. I don't think that will be worth it. But we can stun him. Again, I don't like the bash, but it's just the class that I had.
Enough, Shiv. I'm working on it.
I guess I could have went over there and killed him. Oh well.
Don't ask me, matey. Haven't got a clue.
Justice shall be done. You can blame
He
your
didn't
fool
push me
captain for
overboard.
this
Interesting.
round.
Anyway, now let's finish this.
You'll hang for that.
Why am I still doing this? I don't know. That's a lot of damage he has now. As for her, well... I guess
Yes, sir, Capitan.
I can try and aim, but I think the pawn will just come after us.
A lucky strike.
To show how many fear points you get. Yes, 3 points of damage. I guess we cannot. I cannot show you the fear trick because they will just kill them too fast.
Who's for the chopper? Either you're drunk or I am.
Yeah, let's try something like
I
this.
can't even begin to fathom.
Well, I'll kill him anyway, no matter what I do. So it's kind of a dead end because that's a kill. That's a kill. With no fear points. Oh well. Guess I tried.
Face it, you're outmatched.
Okay, let's try that again because I want to find another ship where we can fear them. So as you can see, you have everything under control. Even though things look bad, they're not so bad. More or less because you have some tankiness to yourself, and the captain itself is unkillable unless he gets thrown overboard. But I don't think he can be thrown overboard. Never happened so far. The events are usually not worth it because some of them are really bad, like you gamble some money and you might lose all of it. Exceptional Eater is not worth it because you already start with 3. I lose the blackjack. Oh, thank you, game. Thank you for getting rid of that useless item. Which this is super useful because now I have more
For
movement.
glory! For gold!
And
For
then we'll repair our
glass!
cannon over there and it will be okay. So we just have to survive this encounter, which how hard can it be?
There! Now we have them!
If you lose your
Huzzah!
cannon in one combat, it will get a wound. So whatever you do, don't lose your glass cannon because one wound means it's destroyed. And I guess this one still has 2 wounds. Now let's see what else we have over here as targets.
All cannons! Fire! All troops, fire at will.
Okay, that's it over
Reload.
this.
Swiftly now.
Wildtail and Swordfish. Well, the Swordfish must go.
Cannon through. Give them a round. Targets destroyed, Captain.
Because he's a bit stronger than the rest. The Wildtail is also pretty annoying. They can keep their movement bonus, I don't care that much. I guess we can technically destroy the... whatever. It's 4 flintlocks. This will be funny. This will be very funny because they cannot do much.
ship. Ooh, well,
Good. The
Oh, this will be so much fun. Well, I guess it depends on your point of view for fun. Because they cannot fire at me, so we'll
what's
not lose
going
any
you all of a
HP.
sudden?
That's 4 points of fear, which should be enough to... Wait a minute. Really?
Don't stand about, you swabs.
Will be enough to kill them?
Oi, got something cooking.
Okay, this is kind of sad in a way. You can also steal his strength. So what I understand, characters don't block line of sight, so don't worry about that.
I'm reloading, lads. Let's finish this. I have a clear shot.
I have a clear shot.
Oi, I got extra salt in me stew.
So that's one fear. And this will just give us the extra fear we
I
need.
simply cannot miss today.
So yeah, the Musketeer can be used to cheese so many fights. Imagine if these guys had 10 crew members. It wouldn't have mattered how many crew members they had, because the ending would have been the same. You also got an extra cannon. I guess it depends on luck if you get cannons or not, but you probably need about 6 cannons with various uses. Light cannon. Oh nice, the light cannon is basically a little better than ours, so let's put that over here. I don't think it's worth using the other one. I'll just leave it over there because we have enough cannons.
An excellent idea, Captain. Our supplies
Speed
are
up.
perilously low, as usual.
5 cannons. Now you probably just want the glass cannon tier 5, but we cannot afford it. The glass cannons are just great. They do so much damage and easy to use. Now you also have another option, repairing the ship. I recommend you repair it always, because you never know what might go wrong in other attacks. You can get the glass cannon tier 4. Now the heavy ones are not worth it in my opinion, because they cost 2 points and you cannot use them in the first round, which is basically useless. And yeah, this is why I prefer the cannon. So even if you get them in the last map, it's still worth it because of stuff like this. Now if you get a map where you have flintlocks overlooking you, don't fight. If you get a map where you can just kill all of the enemies, kill them. I'm looking around for ropes. Usually have more ropes, but I guess this map doesn't have any ropes. Now, since our objective is to only run away, I don't recommend you bring your A-team. Usually have a few ropes around, but I guess this time they decided not to have any ropes. And this is why it's so important that your captain has a lot
Give
more
them no
movement speed.
quarter.
Orders? How about a poke in the hams?
Eh,
No thanks.
their only purpose is to remove the engage.
Belay
the
that
captain.
water.
I guess that was a tiny mistake. I could have used that. Okay, no, that's not
How?
it.
Is that the best you build rats can do? Too easy. We'll soon have you sorted.
Yeah,
So
they're aiming
many
for
choice
everyone.
targets.
Make ready.
Sadly, we're not in a very good situation, so this will be one of the times where I use the Kraken. Well, it's the best option and it's the easiest one as well. We just stole a very important cannon. I think with two glass cannons there's nothing that can stop you really, because you just destroy everything faster than they can even touch you. So 2 to 4, 3 to 5. So yeah, at this point I think this will be a very easy and breezy game. I'll finish this without any more problems, and probably in the last one, yeah, we'll get 3 more points, which means we can use the Kraken 2 more times in the last one. And at this point I have to focus on getting equipment for the characters, because we need more equipment. For example, the captain could use more movement speed or armor, these guys could use more damage. Anyway, you get the idea. If you do these things, and if you can get your hands on a cannon, if you cannot buy it, steal it. And if you get it very early, then the rest of the mission will be such a breeze. And with the fear mechanic abuse, it's easy as well. Anyway, bye bye.